We're about to witness the biggest urban development St. Louis has seen in decades. Whether you live in the city, the county, St. Charles County, this project is going to reshape our region, and it's something you will want to know about. I'm talking about Downtown Chesterfield. This is a completely new urban district being built from the ground up on the former site of Chesterfield Mall. So what's actually being built here, and what will it do to the St. Louis area? Well, there's a lot, and I'm breaking it all down in this video today. Downtown Chesterfield will have retail shops, office space, high-rise apartments, condos, a hotel, a grocery store, a 3.3-acre park, and miles of walking trails and biking paths throughout. It's designed to be a walkable urban hub in West County, something that the developer Michael Steinberg calls the third leg of the stool. We've got downtown St. Louis, we've got downtown Clayton, and now downtown Chesterfield. Now, this project is not meant to compete or take away from downtown St. Louis or Clayton. It is meant to complement them and elevate the entire St. Louis region. I have spent weeks interviewing and meeting with the Steinberg Group, which is the developer behind this project. I've seen the blueprints, the traffic studies, the maps, the phasing plans, and I'm here to give you a rundown of this project. My name is Jacob Heistrup. Welcome to the Living St. Louis channel. Let's get right to it. Downtown Chesterfield is over a decade-long master plan broken down into phases, so let's talk about its current progress. The demolition of Chesterfield Mall kicked off in October of 2024 and wrapped up in August 2025. And approximately 95% of all the demolition materials from the mall were reused as part of this development. Everything they could recycle, they did. And it wasn't easy. That decision added 6 months to the demolition process, but it really speaks to the integrity behind this project. Now, they're moving into 12 to 18 months of grading and infrastructure preparation. By the end of 2026, the site of downtown Chesterfield will have infrastructure, landscaping, parking, and lighting. And construction of the new mid-rise to high-rise buildings is expected to start early 2027. Chesterfield is already a regional hub, and this project takes it to the next level. Downtown Chesterfield isn't just some generic row of apartment buildings with a coffee shop and a couple of stores. We already have several of those developments around St. Louis. This is a very intentional and cohesive downtown district that is designed as a community, not just a bunch of buildings. The vision is to create something that St. Louis has never seen before, and it's inspired by some of the most successful, walkable, urban hubs in the country. And here's something I really want to emphasize. This project has been over 7 years in the making already. They didn't start tearing down the mall until they had the full plan and vision for downtown Chesterfield. The Steinberg Group drew inspiration for this project from Cherry Creek West in Denver, The Domain in Austin, Texas, and Legacy West in Plano, Texas. These are elevated urban communities where people live, work, play, and have their whole social life built around the community. And this development has some great amenities right next to it. You've already got Central Park, the Chesterfield Amphitheater, the YMCA, the JCC, Public Library, the water park. There's 2 lakes nearby and miles of walking trails. Downtown Chesterfield is designed to feel walkable and community-driven, and that's exactly why there's a 3.3-acre park right in the middle of this project. Now, let's talk shopping for a second. We all know Chesterfield has a ton of retail. The Valley, the outlets, there's a lot. Downtown Chesterfield isn't trying to compete with those, it's trying to complement them by bringing in brands that are not currently in Chesterfield. So think of stores that you might find at Plaza Frontenac or in the Galleria that just aren't in Chesterfield yet. That's the kind of retail they're aiming for. And the food scene, trust me, that is a big focus too. There's room for 10 to 15 restaurants on the downtown Chesterfield site, and these are going to be places you actually want to go on a date night, or go to a work lunch, or just go to happy hour with some friends after work. Again, really trying to build that community. The developers know that food is culture, and restaurants bring people in. And you'll see that theme come up again and again in this video: community. If there's one thing I can tell you that I've learned from my interviews with the team designing Downtown Chesterfield, it's that this project, from day one, has been designed to be thoughtful, intentional, and long-term. And it is just getting started. Now, if you live anywhere in the Chesterfield area, especially near Clarkson Road, you're probably wondering what a lot of people are already thinking. How in the world are we going to handle all this new traffic? Totally fair question, and I've thought the same thing sitting in traffic on Clarkson during rush hour. Good news, the developer already has a plan to improve Clarkson and mitigate the increase in traffic. There was a 140-page traffic impact study completed from 2022 to 2023. That's over a year of data, modeling, and projections that was done in collaboration with St. Louis County, the City of Chesterfield, and the Missouri Department of Transportation. So you've got three major agencies that are reviewing, validating, and guiding this whole road improvement plan, not just one developer steering the ship. Now, here's a surprising stat. Downtown Chesterfield's traffic estimates are not higher than if Chesterfield Mall were still booming like it was back in the day. In fact, downtown Chesterfield will have less traffic. Why? Because it is a different development with a different kind of traffic than the mall generated. Going from a big shopping mall to a downtown district where you live, work, eat, walk around within the same community changes how much you're getting in and out of your car and driving around. You might grab coffee, walk to work, meet some friends for lunch, and then hit up the grocery store afterwards before coming home without ever leaving the downtown Chesterfield area. So when we look at this traffic data from the study, it basically adds up all the traffic generated from having apartments, offices, retail, grocery store, restaurants all together. And then we subtract all the traffic that gets eliminated by the fact that these buildings are all right next to each other and you can walk rather than drive. So when we look at the projections for downtown Chesterfield's traffic, the busiest time is going to be weekday mornings with about 3,734 new cars on the road. Now, if we compare that to the data from the mall reached its peak traffic hour in the middle of Saturday with an estimated 3,786 cars on the road. So comparing downtown Chesterfield to Chesterfield Mall, they have different traffic estimates and they hit their peak at different times. And unlike the mall, which generated a lot of transient traffic coming in from all over the St. Louis region, downtown Chesterfield is designed for locals. And local traffic is different from mall traffic. When locals know the roads, they are more efficient drivers. Fewer missed turns, fewer people cutting you off, and there's less slamming your brakes in the middle of the road. And here's the good news, these improvements are already being designed to upgrade Clarkson Road. And this is one part of a multi-phase infrastructure upgrade that was coordinated between the developer, the City of Chesterfield, and the Missouri Department of Transportation. Now let's start with Clarkson Road, since that's where most of the concern is. Right now, if we look at Clarkson Road, we've got 3 lanes northbound, but only 2 lanes southbound with the occasional right turn lane. They're going to add a 3rd southbound lane and multiple right turn lanes to Clarkson. What happens now is Clarkson gets super congested from everyone coming off the highway and going south. And then when people come on from Chesterfield Parkway, they start merging right away, causing more congestion because they know their lane ends pretty quickly. When the road improvements are done, the 3rd lane will be added as its own lane that goes all the way south up to the intersection with Baxter and turns right. Plus, you're still going to have all those right turn lanes into that shopping center when you go south on Clarkson. They want to fix the roads early before there's more traffic to make Clarkson better for everyone that uses it. And the southbound part of Clarkson that's going to be widened, it's mostly next to green space and parking lots, not homes and businesses. Now, the other part of the upgrade to Clarkson is on the ramp going on to 6440 eastbound from Clarkson. That weird merge you get when you turn right onto the highway and everyone slows down, they're fixing that and making it more efficient for drivers. So here's what the ramp will look like. They're going to rework the right turn lane so it continues onto the ramp longer so you can turn right without stopping and have more time to merge. And to help, they're going to add a longer island to separate the traffic flows more clearly so that drivers know they don't need to stop in order to turn right. People turning right tend to stop and yield to oncoming traffic even when they don't have to because there's 2 lanes. And they're also going to make one of the through lanes an optional right turn so that when you have a green light, you have 2 lanes that can turn right onto the highway. Now, from mid 2025 to mid 2026, the developers are acquiring the rights of way from the property owners they need to buy land from in order to make these improvements and widen Clarkson. And then it'll be a year of construction to do the work on both sides of Clarkson. So the goal is by mid 2027, the road upgrades will be finished. The Steinberg Group is doing the work now to fix the roads before buildings go up and before people start moving in. And that's very intentional. They really want to be mindful about minimizing disruption to anyone that lives, works, or drives through this area. And because the downtown Chesterfield site used to be a mall, it already has 5 major access points with 2 more that are going to be connected from Chesterfield Parkway. That's going to be 7 different ways in and out of this project, which is going to be great for mitigating traffic and congestion. And that's really important because it's difficult to see from the ground the sheer scale of this project. I mean, it is massive. The area of downtown Chesterfield is similar in size to downtown Clayton. It's just hard to appreciate that right now because so much of it is just a parking lot. But that is going to change. What I love is that Chesterfield's not just reacting to growth, they're planning for it. This is phase 1 of a multi-phase infrastructure plan, so there's going to be more improvements to the road over the coming years. Once downtown Chesterfield has developed more, the city of Chesterfield will come in and start road improvements on other areas to help with traffic and congestion. So, are you going to notice more people on the roads in Chesterfield in the coming years? Sure. But is this development going to create a bunch of new traffic problems? No. They're fixing that early before people live here. So when you see that construction start to happen on Clarkson Road, just know this is part of a long-term vision to make the roads better and capable of handling more traffic. This is not about building something fast. It is about building something right and improving the whole community along the way. Another question you might be wondering, where is everyone going to park here? There will be over 1,000 spaces between on-street and garage parking for people to use when they're visiting. Now, each residential and office building will have parking for their own residents, so those 1,000 spaces are truly for public use. And this is not downtown St. Louis or Clayton. Parking will be free. And what's better is on-street parking is not going to be those tiny spaces you have to parallel park and squeeze into. These are going to be 60-degree angled parking spots that are 9.5 feet wide by 20 feet long. That's bigger than the average parking space of 8.5 by 18. And once you park, you can walk everywhere. Home, work, restaurants, the gym, it's all going to be connected. Now let's talk about something even more important than traffic, you might be wondering. One question I've heard over and over again in the comment section of these videos is this project actually going to happen? Or is it going to be one of those flashy projects with a bunch of nice renderings that never gets finished? Totally fair. I mean, in St. Louis, we've seen our fair share of big plans that never came true. But downtown Chesterfield is not one of them. This isn't a 3-year sprint to build everything by 2030. It is a decade-long plan broken down into multiple phases. Right now, they're laying the foundation, literally. The roads, utilities, parking, lighting, public art, landscaping, and the 3.3-acre park all underway by fall 2026. And then residential construction of phase 1 starts in 2027. Phase 1 includes 1,000 housing units plus the park right in the middle. So we will see the center of this development take shape first, which is great because that is what's going to create the community that we build around. These buildings could open as early as 2029, so that's the soonest we might start seeing the first move-ins to downtown Chesterfield. Retail, hotel, grocery store, office space, all of that will be built later on based on demand. So we're not rushing to meet a deadline, we're building and then assessing the demand for more. Like I said earlier, they want to build this project right, not fast. Now here's where it gets interesting, and it's something that most people never hear about in the world of real estate development: zoning flexibility. Most suburbs like Chesterfield operate under a rigid suburban zoning code. Typically, when someone develops land like this, one lot is zoned for retail, one is for office, one is for hotel, and so on. And those lots are usually difficult to rezone if plans change and you want to build something else. But this project is different. Downtown Chesterfield is zoned under a classification called Planned Commercial and Residential, or PCNR. Let's say that one lot was meant to be a hotel, but no developer wants to build a hotel there. They can pivot. They can make it a condo building or retail or office space instead. If in the future one developer backs out of buying a certain lot in this development, the Steinberg Group can go and sell that same lot to another developer to build something totally different. And that flexible zoning is exactly what allows these developers to build based on future demand from people in this community without having everything set in stone from day one. By the way, if you want to check out more of this development and stay up to date with its progress, go check out the website for it. That's downtownchesterfieldstl.com, and I will have that linked in the description for you. Another thing to know is that unlike a lot of other developments where lots get sold to whoever shows up with the biggest check, Michael Steinberg is not just selling dirt and hoping for the best here. His company maintains control over the lot sales and architectural standards within this development. So they get to make their own rules that might be even stricter than the city of Chesterfield in deciding who builds what, where they build it, and what that building looks like. How do you even get to call the shots like that on a project this big? You have a good reputation for delivering on your promises. Michael Steinberg's been developing in Chesterfield since 1995. Chesterfield Commons in the Valley? That's Michael. The district? Him too. And now, Downtown Chesterfield is his next project. By the time this project is complete, he will have developed over 5 million square feet of space in Chesterfield alone. He's been building for 30 years. He's got plenty of time to make it happen. He's in a hurry, but he's not. So as we start to see this project take shape, if you drive by it and you just see dirt, that's okay. This is a long-term plan, and there's multiple phases that are all going to take time. And sometimes they're making progress, you just can't see it at the construction site. They've got to file permits, get approved by the city, show up to public hearings, all sorts of stuff that doesn't involve actual construction on the site. And just because a lot stays empty for a while doesn't mean it's a failure. It just means the team at the Steinberg Group is waiting to find the right developer who understands the vision. There's a difference between building fast and building intentional, and this project is very intentional. So we've talked about how this project will actually get built, but that leads into the next question. Who is it actually for? Because I know what you might be thinking. It's just going to be a bunch of luxury apartments no one around here can actually afford. But we're not even there yet. Pricing doesn't exist yet because these lots have not been sold to other commercial developers yet. And when these lots do sell, pricing won't just be pulled from thin air. It'll be based on market demand. And let's be real about something. This is Chesterfield, so the market will reflect that. This is not just a bunch of apartments. This is going to really be a mix of different housing options and styles. Apartments, condos, townhomes, and like I said, even a hotel. Now, one of the first confirmed builders is TriStar, who's planning 110 townhomes off Chesterfield Parkway. So it's not going to be a bunch of wall-to-wall towers all next to each other. It's going to be a mix, and that's by design. Now, this project is not trying to be everything to everyone. It's designed for people who want that Chesterfield lifestyle with more walkability, a more urban feel, more dining, more outdoor space, without living in a typical subdivision. And if you're wondering who this is for and who's going to live here, the Steinberg Group expects really everyone from young college grads starting their career all the way up to retirees that just want to downsize and live in a more urban area. It's really meant to be multi-generational and cater to a bunch of different demographics. I mean, there's space here for all the condos, apartments, townhomes I mentioned, a hotel, 10 to 15 restaurants, a local boutique-style grocery store, and the park is going to have so much programming in it from things like farmers markets, food shows, art festivals, live music. And one of the cool things about this project a lot of people don't realize is this is one of the highest points in Chesterfield, about 660 feet of elevation. So if you live in one of these high-rise buildings, you're going to have the best views in Chesterfield, overlooking the valley, the river, even Clayton as a tiny little blip in the distance. So I'm super excited to see how these apartments and condos turn out, and my real estate team and I are going to be super excited when it comes time to sell some of these brand new condos and townhomes. And again, this project is not about being everything to everyone. It is about creating a totally new kind of place to live that St. Louis County has not seen before. If it fits your vibe, great. If not, no worries. All right, now what about schools? If you live in the West County area, chances are you're probably within the Parkway or Rockwood school system. And you might be thinking, is this going to put strain on the school systems? I mean, there's going to be thousands of new residents here in downtown Chesterfield. Here's the thing. This project is a very urban development. This is not your typical subdivision. So there probably are not going to be a lot of school-aged kids living in these apartments and condo buildings. There may be a few more families living in the townhomes compared to the high-rise buildings, but the impact on the Rockwood and Parkway school districts should be minimal. Now, even if there is an increase in a bunch of new kids going to these schools, the Steinberg Group and the City of Chesterfield have baked in a 10% school tax pass-through for downtown Chesterfield. That means that 10% of the school district taxes generated by downtown Chesterfield will be made available to the Rockwood and Parkway schools. And that money is meant to help with hiring more teachers, expanding classrooms, or getting more resources if necessary to accommodate new students. So we've covered traffic, infrastructure, housing, pricing, and schools. Now let's take a step back for a minute and talk about why this project matters in St. Louis. When people hear the term mixed-use development, it's very easy to think just a bunch of apartments stacked on top of coffee shops and retail. This isn't just about Chesterfield. It's about creating a true third downtown in the St. Louis area. We have downtown St. Louis and downtown Clayton, and now, for the first time, West County is getting one too. Not to compete with the Valley or the District or downtown Clayton or St. Louis, but to complement it and elevate the whole region. Everyone wins. And this is meant to be the kind of place where if you wanted to live here without a car, you could absolutely do that. You can walk to the gym, the coffee shop, the grocery store, work. Everything will be right here. This is going to be a really big change for West County, and it'll take at least 10 years to get to the finished product. But when it's all said and done, it will be a massive change. And if it's done right, which I'm pretty confident it will be, this will be a project that benefits the entire St. Louis region for decades to come. So let me ask you, is St. Louis ready for what's coming to Chesterfield? Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Personally, I think so, and I'm very excited to see it happen. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.